Hi everyone, Emma here. I'm so excited to show you how to make this bracelet. So these uh, engraved pip beads I got from John Bead in the unboxing a few days ago, and I was going to do a design that was a design from Preciosa, which takes 3 pips, puts them, like sews them together in a round, and then strings them all together on a wire. But when I started looking at the design, I felt like it wasn't going to work. And when I tried it out, I wanted these beads to stagger from each row so that there was like a texture to it. So of course, I managed to come up with a way to do it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So this one's almost finished. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do this simple brick stitch that you can attach beads to. That's so much fun, so easy to do. These are really quick to do. And then you can attach whatever you want to it in whatever orientation. You can put round pearls or the smaller pips. Is another really cool design, but this one I wanted to really bling it out, so that's why I have these incredible gold pips. So let's take a look at those, and then we'll go through what we need. These are engraved pips. They're 9 by 14. Black, opaque, amber, full. Now, this is one strand. We're going to use this 3rd strand. So there's 2 strands here, and there's a few beads there, and then we're going to use the 3rd one. I think it ends up being, I think there's 25 on a strand, so that ends up being 75 of these. But again, this is like something that you would do for a, really special event that you're going to really bling out the gold and the movement and stuff like that. So you have your beads. You're going to need a 8/0 bead to create your base, and I'm using, these came in the box that they sent me. These are 8/0 beads, and they are called transparent light gold silver lined. And I did mention something in one of the update videos before I got a chance to start making stuff, is these have square holes. And I never used to buy square hole beads. I thought, I have to admit, I'm a bit of a bead snob. So I'm like, oh, can't they put a round hole in there? What's the dealio? Why do they have a square hole? But I'll tell you what, oh my gosh, take a look at how this looks. This totally changes the look of this. If this was just a round hole, you wouldn't get this like shiny effect as much. And this almost looks, to me, this looks like chain. When it was all done and uncovered, I guess I can show you on the back side. Look. It almost looks like chain because of the squareness of those square holes. So I'm going to therapy, and I'm getting bead therapy. Thank you, John Bead, for helping me get over my snobbery. So let's take a few of these out. I think put a few more. So the idea, this is a brick stitch, and so if you've done brick stitch before, this is just a review. You're going to need you can use a size 10 throughout this whole design. Let me tilt this a bit. So there's your size 10 needle. You're going to need some scissors to cut your thread. I am using green dragon thread, size 6. But you know what? I got all the way through this. I doubled up, so I actually went through each component twice, which is not a big deal. It's easy to do. But then I realized when I was getting ready to add thread, and I already pulled some thin thread, that you could use the size 8, which if you look at this, look at how strong it holds its shape. completely. So it's that much thicker. I definitely think you need something strong for these beads. They're quite heavy. So you have to remember that too. As a bracelet, this is really heavy, but you know what? That adds to the yumminess of it. Look it. As I say to my wife all the time, look at mommy, look what I made. She's like, yeah, okay. But if you don't have the dragon thread, you can use Fireline size 6 pound. It's pretty strong too. Now this is crystal. You can actually use any color. You don't see the thread that much. So green is great with gold. It disappears. Then to attach your pips on, you're going to need a 11/0 gold. I just tried to find something that kind of matched the colors, but it doesn't matter. And you're going to need a clasp. Now, there is a hint to the clasp. And let me see. I'm going to grab another one of these bracelets that I made. So here's one that I made with these crazy drops. It looks like the movie Up with all the balloons. But now this one I put one of these bar magnetic slide clasp. Oh, I guess it's not magnetic. It's friction. A bar clasp. So this is a really good clasp to use. And the reason I'm saying this is when you start adding all these beads, it gets heavy. So what happens when you put it on your wrist, the heaviness of the bracelet will go to the bottom. So if you have a long clasp, the clasp is lighter, so your clasp will always end up at the top. But I mean, if your hands down this way, you're not gonna, it's gonna just sit wherever. So just to let you know that there is the possibility with a longer clasp, it might slide, but you know what? I needed to bling it out. What do you think? So this is one I got online. Super beautiful. I had to get the butterfly. I'm not big into butterflies, but I don't know. It says bling to me, so it spoke to me. So let's move these aside here. So you're going to need a stop bead. So I've got a wingspan. This brick stitch uses a lot of thread. So grab yourself a wingspan. A trick that I use when I'm going to use multiple strands of thread and I don't want to constantly be adding thread is I will take 2 wingspans and roll up one wingspan and just twist it and it will hold its shape, and then put your stop bead on and then work with the one side. And once you get done that side, take your other side, unravel it, put your needle on, work the other way. That will only get you 2 wingspans. I'm pretty sure this took me 4 or 5 wingspans. So bring your stop bead down. Just leave enough to thread back in. So maybe 3 or 4 inches, 10 centimeters if you're in, a little less than 10 centimeters if you're in Canada and the UK. I think they use centimeters. No, maybe France. So get your stop bead on. Now, the important thing with this is you need an uneven number, because what we're doing is we're putting 3, then 2, 3, then 2. So you want to skip a bead each time when you're putting it on. Now, it didn't quite work out for these, but I will show you what I did to make up for that. And you know what? This is very forgiving as to where you put your side beads, and then just grab your middle one. And then when I went to do my row of 2s, I just got them near the middle. And you see how they move to the side quite easily. So there's a lot of movement. It looks amazing. You would not know if you put them in the wrong bead. So let's grab 7 of these. There's 4, 5, 6, 7. Just double count. Yeah, 7. bring that down to your stop bead, and I'm going to tilt this again so we can get a nice clear shot of my hands. So now you can hang on to it this way. You can hang on to it whichever way feels comfortable for you, but I find that the first row is a bit awkward, so just be aware you're doing it right. It's just awkward to hold. So I got my next bead. So this is your first row. We're going to work on our second row right here. So pick up a bead. You're going to come through the bottom of this bead like this, and it's going to sit next to that one. I think I'm going to enlarge this a bit to really give you a close-up bird's eye view. So now your thread's coming out of this one of your first row. You're going to come down the one you just added like that. Now this is, I learned this from Jill Wiseman. She has a really good video. I'll try and find it for you and link it in. That's where I got the idea for this one. Now she uses pearls and fire polish. Of course, that was not good enough for me. I had to try the weirdest beads I could find. So now the next one, put your bead on. Your thread's coming out of here. You're going to go across to the second bead in the first row and just through that one. Don't, just like that. Now, hint for doing this so that your thread doesn't get all tangled is just place your thread where you want it to go. So let's go here. So you're going to go across and down the one that we just added. And again, this part looks a bit wonky. It will make more sense when we add a few more rows, but just be patient and follow. So now I'm coming out of this second bead that I added on the second row. I'm going to add my third bead, go across to my third bead on the first row, and just that one. And let's see if I can show you how that pops into place. Like that. And then we're going to come down through that bead we just added and get us set up for the next. Now you see, this is why I was saying about bringing your thread across. So you will get the thread jumping, but I'll tell you what, it's annoying. If you haven't figured that out yet, it's super annoying when you get halfway through your bracelet and you go and look and there's a thread running across or up top here. Don't worry. If you catch it and it's the next row, you can actually tighten your thread all the way through to pull it down. But don't worry about it. Look, you don't see it on the bracelet. So now let's get our next bead. So we're going to go up through the adjacent bead on the first row. Bring your thread down so it doesn't jump over the beads like that. And I just hang on to the thread so it doesn't jump over the top. Go down through the bead we just added and you can pull it snug. Grab your next bead. You're going to go up through the bead next to it. Pull your thread down, that, and then go down through the bead that you just added. So we'll just keep doing that to the end and then we'll turn around. Pick up your bead, go up through the bead next to it, pull. Let me see if I can show you that. Step. It's hard to show it when I have nothing to hang on to. Okay, so then go back up. Sorry, go down. Now you can flip this the other way if it's easier. Let me show you what it looks like from the up position. Okay. This might be easier to visualize, but pick up a bead. We're coming out of here. We're going to go from the top of your first row. This is the last bead on that first row. Bring your thread through and pop your bead. Then go across and up through the bottom of the bead you just added. Like that. Now, what you're going to do, don't forget this step, and this really reinforces this, so you could put anything on these bracelets. Your thread's coming out of here. You're going to go down the previous row, so let's make sure we go through all the beads on the previous row, like that. Pull tight. Then go up all the ones you just added, like that. And this is the extent of this brick stitch. So we're going to keep going. We're going to do a couple more rows till I feel confident that you're going to be able to do it without having to rewind too much and pause. So grab your next bead. That one looks a bit small. So your thread's coming out of here. And let me see if I can get some better light on here. Now I can't see what I'm doing. So I have my bead. I'm gonna go through the bottom of that previous row bead like this, so that it's sitting next to it, then go down through this way. Don't. Pick up your next bead. You're going to go up through this bead and only this bead, the second one in the previous row. And don't worry, this bead's going to move around. Once we pull this one, it goes nicely where it's supposed to be. So then our thread is across and down. Like that. Pick up the next one. We're going to go from the bottom up. And I apologize if that was confusing going up and down. Some people will flip their work each row. I do find it's easier in a video for me to go from this way, but you let me know if it's confusing. I'll work on it for the next time. So get your next bead, go up through the bottom of the previous row's bead that's next to it. Pull your line through and then go down through that bead we just added. Like that. Pick up another, go up through that bead and just that bead. And I kind of put my finger there, it kind of coaxes it into the right spot. So grab your thread, pull it across, then go down through the bead you just added. And you're ready to pick up your next bead. Pick up a bead, go through the bottom of the bead from the previous row that's going to be in the same position as the one we're adding. Then go across with our thread, come down like that. And then the last one, we go up, up through that bead. And then across and down through the bead we just added. And you can see it's like super loose. It's magic. Pulls it tight. And then don't forget to do your reinforcing the row. When I don't do this, like if I haven't done it recently and I start doing it, I forget the first couple of times to go through the rows. So try and remember. If you have to, write a little sticky note with the steps, that's what I do when I find something's a little too confusing. I'll put a little sticky note, row 1, row 2, and go through it that way. So now I'm going to keep it in the same position. So it's going to look a little different because we're going to come up from the top of the bead on the previous row. So I have my bead there. And hold that tight. Then go up through the one we just added. That. And not to worry if that looks awkward. Awkward. Grab. And just make sure I did that right. Yeah. Now we're going through the second bead on the previous row with our bead on there. Go across, go up. Just like that. I've been dying to show you guys this design, but you would not believe. So I had a whole bunch of designs ready to go of my own, from my own bead stash. So I completed a few of those while I got the lovely package that Carmi and Millie sent me from John Bead. And then the curiosity box came. So I already have like 3 or 4 things done for that. Part of what happens is, like, I try and do original designs, and I like to either do a portion of it so that I can show you what it looks like, and then we make it and finish the one I'm working on. But or I'll do it twice. But I like to have something done before I just turn the camera on. So I hope you're following. We're gonna go up through this one we just added. Little intermission there. Grab your next bead, go down through the previous row's bead in the same position, then go up the bead we added, like that. Grab your next bead, go down the previous row bead that's in the same position, bring your thread across, and go up. And you can see how fast and easy this is because they're big holes and you've got a big needle, so it's easy to change your thread when you need it, and it's smooth going through. You're not like struggling to pull it through. Grab your bead, go through the bottom of that previous row bead, then go down through the one you just added. This will be our last row, and then we'll start adding, completing the others. So you've got your bead, you're going to go up through the bead on the previous row, go across, come down the bead you just added, pick up a bead, go up through the bead in the previous row that's next to the one you're adding, and then go down the bead you just added. Pick up another, go up through your bead on the previous row, pull that tight, then go down, pick up another bead, go up through the bead in the previous row, get those guys next to each other, then go down the bead you just came out of, or just added, not like that. Pick up another, go up through the previous row bead, get those side by side, go down, get hooked on things, and then, you know what, I don't think we didn't go up and down. See what I mean? Squirrel! That's part of the reason why my channel's named Baby Squirrel Beading. I get squirreled all the time. I'm like those dogs that are driving in the car. I had this happen to me. Funny story. Okay, so let's go up and down. So if you forget to reinforce your row, just take your needle, go up one, down the next one, like that, and then we'll go back up. So if I was continuing on with this, I would just go Go back over. There's lots of room inside these beads. They're nice big holes. So there, you're ready for your next row. So don't forget to reinforce. So when you add your row, you're gonna say we finished on this bead here. We're gonna go up through here and then back down. So you're gonna end up in the same position again. But that gives you a reinforcement on these. So there you go. So let's put this aside. When I lived in North Carolina, so I was nursing in North Carolina when I graduated. Here in Canada, there was a hiring freeze when I graduated. And so a lot of us ended up in the States from our graduating class. Well, our, air conditioning in a car is not essential here in Canada. So we had no air conditioning in our car. And I would take the dogs with me for a drive, and the windows were open. So one day I was at a stoplight, a red light, and there was a big field. I think it was like a school, the front of a school and stuff. So it was like a big, huge lawn and trees. And I had a black lab. He was so funny. We called him Buddy. So I'm going to cut these off. I saw in the corner of my eye, he saw a squirrel. And he was getting ready to jump out the window just as the light changed. So needless to say, I reached back and grabbed a hold of the back of his neck and managed to grab him just as he was jumping out the window. Oh my gosh. So there's my squirrel story. I'm sure my wife would have plenty of squirrel stories to tell you. So let's try this. I haven't even used this yet. It's full. I really like the number 6. I find the 8 tight when you're passing through beads a lot. Yeah, I just need to think about that because these 11O seed beads, of course the holes are smaller, but I think it'll still be fine. We'll find out. So I took a wingspan. I definitely think we're going to use a wingspan to get these beads on. There's a really cool trick to brick stitch to add thread. You do not have to put knots. I just learned that trick recently. I'm surprised it took me so long. Of course, another Jill Wiseman trick. So we want to finish it, like have our thread coming out of this row at some point once we attach our thread. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a few rows back and I'm going to find a spot. It doesn't matter anywhere in the design. Oh, that's really hard to see. There we go. Okay. I'm going to bring my, you know what? This is not going to work with this thread. That, way too thick. I had a weird feeling that as I was pulling it that it was going to be too thick. Okay. So, ixnay on the 8-nay. Let's get our needle on here again. And I mean, you can move to a smaller needle if you like too. I do find that these size 10 needles, they're nice because they're easy to thread, but sometimes the thread comes out of the eye because the eye is so big. Okay, let's start again. Let's go to about here, go through here, pull it all the way through till you have like just a little bit hanging like that. then what you're going to do, so hard to see, but my thread is coming out of this bead here. I'm going to cross over to this bead, and I'm going to go in a square with these 4 beads here, and I'm going to do that a few times and then reposition my needle and thread out here. And what that does is this square is your knot, basically, because once you go around a few times, it won't, so you see this pulls really easily, but let's go, so we're going to go over another bead. And I like to show this in case, you know, if you're an expert beader, you're like, I don't need to see that, just fast forward. But I explain it because, you know what, almost every time I do a video, somebody asks me, how do I add thread? So it's really important if you want to finish your bracelet. So this is moving a little more. I'm pretty satisfied with that. So I'm going to draw it all the way through. If you don't like doing that, that's fine. You can reinforce your thread, go maybe another square around, and then cut that piece off. But this works for me. So now I'm going to go all the way through here and go across each row till I get to the row that I need to be on. And you know what? I think I alternated rows. So let me, yeah, I skipped a row. So you're going to skip a row in between your 3s and your 2s. So that means we want to be coming out of this row, which worked out. So make sure, check on the other side, your needle's not popped through and crossing, the thread's not crossing over your beads. Now, I'm going to pull hard. Look, it's not, nothing's coming out. So it's in there. I think that's the most amazing trick. The most amazing trick I learned in beading. I'm doing a memoirs. Okay, so we do actually need to be in a couple because we already have 3 on this row. So we want to take our thread to, let me see, let's go 1, 2, 3 in. So we're here. I'm going to go back out. Actually, I'm going to go to here. I'm going to go to here. I'm going to do this a little different just because of the position. So let's get our 11 O's. And I'm double checking these beads because my bottles got mixed up, so I want to make sure I have the right color. Okay, so we're coming out of the second bead here. Let me bring this over here. So we're right here. We're up a row, in by 2. Grab 2 11 O's, a pip, 2 11 O's. So this is what you have. Okay. So we are going to go across the 3rd bead and just the 3rd bead. So bring your needle through like that. Because then we're going to go back around these beads. And just be careful with, you see what's happened here? It's caught, my thread's caught across some, so you might want to do this, like work it this way so that it's sitting on the other side and not getting hooked. So now we are coming out of the other side of that 3rd bead. We're going to go back through these guys, and it's not a big deal if they get loose because it'll tighten again. So go through your 11 O's, through your pip, bring your thread through like that, then go through. I'm going to go across 2, the next bead. I'm going to go over 2 beads. Now we got everything's hooked. There's our first one. And you can make this as loose or as tight as you want. These beads have a lot of play, so they're really nice. So pick up 2 11-ohs, a pip bead, 2 11-ohs, that. So our thread is coming out of this side of the bead. We're going to go through the other side of that bead and just that bead, like that. And let's get my finger there so that the thread doesn't hook on things. And there. So now we're going to go through that again. So go back through the 11-ohs in the pip. Make sure your thread doesn't get tangled. Down through and out the other side. Pull tight, and there's your next row. Okay, so now we're going to go up this through this row and then come back around on this one. So like that through there. And that also reinforces the tension on the previous beads that you added by going through that extra row. So now this one here, we're going to add 3. So I'm going to go through the first row only, the first bead. So this is our skipped row, and this is where we're going to add. So I am going to come backwards, pick up 2 11-ohs, a pip bead, 2 11-ohs, like that. Threads coming out of here, we're going to go to the other side, come through that bead alone, and then we're going to go through everything again. Go through the 11-ohs, through the pip, through the 11-ohs, and now we can go to the next bead. We're going to grab the middle bead. So if you have 7 beads on your row, that would be your 4th bead is your middle bead. Again, it's very flexible with this, so you can, if you're off by 1 bead, it's not a big deal. Pick up 2 11-ohs, a pip, and 2 11-ohs. And then as for your 11-ohs, you can attach the pip beads directly to the bracelet as well. Like there's different things you can do. This is just a way of inspiring you to try something with, you may not have the supplies. It may be hard to find these large pips. I did look a few places. If you find them, let me know so I can let other people know. So I'm just going through everything again. And through that bead, and then we're going to go to the end bead to add the last one, or the 3rd one of this row, like that. Pick up 2 11-ohs and a pip. They're so amazing, these. Yeah, I just can't talk about them enough. It's one thing when you see beads in a shop. So you see them online. That's pretty much how I do my bead shopping. We do have a Michaels here that carries a lot of John Bead beads, and but they're in containers. You can't really, I mean, they do have strands, so you can't really like hang on to them and feel them and stuff. But I tell you, like, when you're shopping online, it's little pictures, so you have no idea of what it's really like, the bead or the color. So this got hooked on this bottom one here. Just pay attention when you're doing it. It would suck to go further down and you have to unravel it. So let's keep going. So now we're going to go skip a row, go through it just to reinforce your thread like that. And then we're going to do the 2 middle beads. So we're going to go 3 in. Yeah, so, you know, I find beading is very tactile and very visual and therapeutic in that sense, as well as, you know, when you're concentrating on something, you tend to block out a lot of the stressful thoughts that you have of what's going on. So it's really amazing. And then definitely the tactile part of it. I need to touch the. I joke with people saying I need to pet the beads. I'm sure I wasn't the first person to say that. Well, let me tell you, on the scale of 1 to 10 for bead petting, these are in the 10 for sure. Okay, I'm major hooked here. I'm not paying attention. There. Then, so I'm reinforcing it, go through it again. Go through those 2 seed beads. I'm going to go skip over to the second middle bead here. Pick up an 11-0 or 2 11-0s and a pip bead. So I mentioned this in the unboxing of the Curiosities box, that there is a video on the John Bead site of an unboxing of a Curiosity box, and it's Mark Matano, and he talks about how they came up with the beads that they were going to use for these boxes, and he goes through the warehouse. That's like my dream. It's so funny though, because I'm expecting to see beads in big huge bins and or strands everywhere and stuff, but they're in boxes. You can't see them, or they're in bags. And you know, it's a warehouse, so they're dusty. So you're going to go through, skip your next row, but you're going to reinforce it with your thread. So now you're coming out the other side. So now our next row is a 3. So it's just a 3-2 pattern. You can change up the pattern however you like. So let's go through the first one, because we're going to do 3 on this one. I'm going to move these over here. Pick up 2 11-0s and a pip. Two 11-0s like that. Your thread is on the other side of that first bead. You're going to go through that bead again. Just keep going like that. And we're going to reinforce this. So I'm going to go through the 11-0s, through the pip, through the 11-0s. Now I'm going to make my way to the middle bead, which is the fourth one. Pick up 2 11/0s, a pip bead, 2 11/0s, like that. We're coming out of this bead here, so we're going to go to the other side of that and then go through and let's get our thread over here. And then reinforce this. So yeah, I want to thank everyone at John Bead for this incredible box. I was surprised that I don't know, things got away from me. I thought I usually, within days of getting something, I have videos ready. But I looked at the days gone by on the video of the unboxing of these beads, and it was 10 days. I'm like, how did 2 weeks go by? That's not right. YouTube has made an error. But squirrel. There we go. It's our last one of this row. Just go back through that last. I'm going to move this over here. And I'm just going to take my thread, keep it out of the loop there. There. Now go back through. Go through the 11/0s and the pip. It's getting heavy. This is like a cha-cha bracelet, only elevated. What? Just ready for Caravana in Toronto. The part that I love is, look, be cool if it was 2 different colors. And actually, you know what? They have some that are 2 different colors. But I like, oh, I need all the golds. They probably had a hard time finding them for me. Okay, go through. So now I'm just going to complete this without a whole lot of explanations. So it'll go faster, and we'll put a clasp on this. We'll be all set. There we go. I need to go through. So now there's a 3 row, we need a 2. So we need to go through 3 beads. I don't even follow my own instructions. I'd say that's the fun of beading, but it's not very fun when you don't have the instructions. You know what? You have to tell me. I have had people that do freeform beading, and they ask me all the time, have you ever tried freeform beading? And you know, I think I may have at some point before I knew a lot of designs and stitches. I should be able to take them and put them together and do freeform. My brain just doesn't work that way. I need a set pattern. And that's coming from somebody who designs bracelets. I still see patterns in my head, and then I think, okay, let me do this, let me do that, and put this one from that design to this design and that kind of thing. But I don't know how I think I need to know where I'm going with something. Like I need an end result picture in my head. So maybe what it is letting go of control. Okay, now we're getting into therapy. You didn't know you were coming for a therapy session, did you? Oh gosh. Beading with Emma. Squirrel Emma. Okay, so up the next row. Now we're going to do a 3 row. We're going to have beads left over for earrings. We're going to do some dangly earrings. Okay, so this one is a 3. So get through the first bead. So let me know if you got a curiosity box. I'm curious. Oh, now you're getting dad jokes. Okay, I just want to make sure that's not tangled. Let's go back through these guys. Through. So I had thought for this design that maybe putting the clasp on first would be a good idea. And as I am hanging on by a bead, I was starting to think, oh, maybe that was a good idea. So just thought I'd say that before you get started on yours. Go through. Let's twist it. There we go. So go back down through these guys, through that. Yeah, it's getting a little more precarious on the final 2 rows here. There. Snug. And our last one on this row. There we go. So if you've done these bracelets, let me know what you've used to embellish it. I'm really interested. In the curiosity boxes, there's incredible sets of beads, so I am actually going to be doing a few of these bracelets with the different things. Now, one of the things I've always wanted to do, I've seen them on Pinterest, is like they look like flowery, almost like stems of flowers. Can't get a hold of this needle here. So it's just like a strand of beads, and then you go through the end bead and go back down the same strand of bead. And so you do that for the whole thing, and it's like, it looks like grass, but with beads and flowers and stuff. So I am going to attempt that. I just started one. I am not sure it's going to work out. Like, it looks simple enough, but yeah, it's not. We'll see. Stay tuned. Okay, so let's go through this next one. We just need to. Do you know what? I'm wondering if we should stop there because it's got 3 beads across. But you know what? Oh, probably what I should have done was left a row on the end side, because now we're going to attach the clasp there and there. I think what I might do is add a row of beads here. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. And look, you could do it like sideways too. Look at it, looks wild. Okay, so I'm gonna go through this once. And let's take a look at our butterfly clasp. See how we want to attach it. So there's a couple of ways we can do wire guardians and then jump rings. Let me see, where are these landing? So they're kind of landing on the second bead on each side. Let me make sure that's in focus. It's kind of dark. There. I thought it was going to be simpler to put this on. I hadn't really thought. You know what? I think we'll do wire guardians because this might extend this bracelet a little bit because I made it for my wrist, which is under 6 inches. So you might need a... Let's get some wire guardians. Oh, I had them out already. Oh, that one. And that one. Hi, Annie. I'm doing a video.
Yeah, I figured it out.
Okay. And we're going to need 2 jump rings. I think these ones will be fine. Those are 4 millimeters. Yeah, 4 millimeters. 18 gauge. Okay, so if we're going to attach this wire guard, let's take a look here. And we want it in that kind of that position there. So let's go through 2 beads like that. Okay, so we were already coming out of there, so let me just bring it around to this side here. So now go through the wire guardian on the one side and your thread, then go through the other side. Bring that down. And we're going to go on the other side of that bead. So the thread's coming out of this side. We're going to go through this side. We're going to do that a few times so that guard's on there. Nice and secure like that. So go back through the wire guard. And go through. I'm going to go through one more time. It starts to get sticky at 3 with this size thread. Okay. So now I'm just going to come out the wire guard. That. I am going to go through to this side bead here to put the next one on. just like that through that, come out that second one on the edge. There we go. So that one's in place. Let's get this second wire guard. Let's bring it down and I'm going to go through the other side of the wire guard, and I can get my needle through the bead as well. Let me see if you can see that. It's hard for me to see if you're getting a good view of that. Make sure your thread goes on the channel, and then go through a few more times. That and through the bead. That. Ooh. I'm losing beads here. Let's come out this one here. I'm going to go through those two beads. That. Go reinforce through the bottom, the row beneath it. Oh, and I don't know if you can see that. The thread has jumped the, so if you find that ahead of when you reinforce your thread, it's always nice. You can pull it back up onto the, and there. And go through this again. And you can see we've gone through a few times, so it's getting a bit sticky, but yeah, I think a size thread is the best since we're going through a few times. I just want to have that sit nicely. Let me fix that side bead. So now we want to tie off our thread. So you're going to do that little square. You could do it here. You can go further down your bracelet and do it there. I think we will actually go further down. So I'm just going to go through. So coming out of the second bead here, I'm going to go on the second bead just below. Go through those two. Like that. Okay. So I'm going to flip this. Move all this stuff over here. Go down. So grab a few beads. Figure out where you want to come out and do your little square to reinforce. So go over to the next two. You can go through more than two beads at a time to do this square. Let's do three. It wants to go through three. There's three. Just remember to bring your thread across to the next set of beads, so you're not like crossing over beads. So go through here. And one more time. Go through this. I'm going to go through all of these like that. That through. Like that. So let's put the clasp on this side. You need some pliers to do that. Let me get got a new pair of pliers to try those. Okay, so you're going to open your jump ring, always twisting. Twist apart. Remember to place your clasp face up. Believe it or not, I have attached them backwards. Nobody's going to see the nice shiny spots. And twist it closed. That. And your next jump ring. And a nice little twist. Get your next loop. And your, here, let's do it this way. Grab hold. I'm going to make sure that's closed. So to get them synced up, if you push towards as you're wiggling, it closes them. There you go. This is going to look amazing. So I am going to do another row here and attach the bracelet on that side. So let's see what this looks like. Let me try it this way. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And bring this out. So there is this lovely bracelet. This one's not behaving. There we go. Ta-da! So I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you've done any of these crazy bracelets with this brick stitch attachment. And thank you so much to John Bead, to Carmi and Millie for sending me all these delicious beads. Lovely. These are called engraved. Let me give you the color. So they are Engraved Pip beads, 9 by 14, black, opaque, amber, full. And there's 25 on a strand. There you go. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.